hope you all are doing good. Today I want to pay tribute to Rosa Parks. She peacefully stood up for what she believed in. She is a person who stood for many things. She is strong-willed, persistent, and confident. One main thing that she did was she fought for equal rights between blacks and whites. She did this through a non-violent way. So throughout this speech, I will start by introducing Rosa Parks and who she was. I will explain her peaceful protest and what her protest led to. So I want to begin by introducing Rosa Parks and who she was. She was an African American who was a civil rights activist and lived from 1913 to 2005. She was taught to read by her mother at a very young age and attended all segregated schools throughout her life. Her first one was only a one-room classroom, and it only had supplies not all the time. Very often did they have desks or things to write with or books, whereas the other schools, which had whites in it, had desks all the time, things to write with, and books, and they also had transportation to get there, whereas the blacks had to walk to their school from 1st to 6th grade. She attended college but had to leave because her mother and her grandmother got sick. And after this, she did not go back to college, but she worked at a t-shirt factory. She did marry Raymond Parks, who was part of an activist group, and which led her to join the activist group. So, Rosa Parks was a strong-willed person. She did not agree with the segregation between the blacks and the whites which had been going on for a while. Some examples of the segregation that occurred were they had to eat at different restaurants, drink at different bubblers, use different restrooms, had different schools, and had to sit in different spots on a bus. So, I'm gonna go further into the bus example. While riding the bus, there was a line that was down the middle that whites were on one side and blacks had to sit on the other. When they paid, they could enter the front of the bus, and then they had to exit the bus and enter on the back again so they could ride. And this just did not make Rosa Parks happy. One day, she decided to stand up for what she believed in, and she sat in a spot where the whites were. And as the route went on, more whites and some blacks came onto the bus, but there were more whites than blacks, and the whites had to begin to stand. So the bus driver pulled the bus over and told four of the blacks that were on the bus to move to the back of the bus so that the whites could sit down, and then told Rosa Parks that she needed to either stand or sit in a seat in the back of the bus. But she did not agree with this. She did not move. So the bus driver had to call the police, and when the police got there, had her arrested. So after this event, Rosa Parks not giving up, she went back to her activist group, and there were many boycotts that went on throughout the city of Montgomery, Alabama. The blacks did not attend work, they did not go to school, they were told that they should stay in their house because that's how they began their protest. Then they met up and decided that they needed to be more active and get out there, but they didn't want to act in a violent way. So this led to the Montgomery bus boycott. So this was where a bunch of blacks got on the bus and they would not move for the whites or anything. And then they also had quite a bit of people that would walk down, and they did not stop for the police, they just kept going. And all these events were on a long span, so several months that they kept occurring, and the law enforcement couldn't stop it, so they finally had to drop the law of segregation for public bus transportation, so then whites and blacks could sit wherever they wanted to. So although Rosa Parks stood up for a large problem, not all of us have to stand up for large problems. We can use her as a role model and someone to look up to and use as an example of how to stand up for what we believe in a peaceful way and not violent. Sometimes the best way to get your point across is in a non-violent way. So if you don't agree with something going on around your community, you can stand up in a non-violent way and just say what you believe in and not act in a violent way. So I hope to make others feel that they want to stand up for what they believe in a peaceful way and not in a violent way to get it, and hope that it's successful for you guys as it was successful for her. Thank you for listening and hope you have a good day.